Mechanical keyboards are awesome, as we've explained in this video here, but the feel between different boards can be wildly different depending on the switches that are under the keys. Each switch has a few properties that make it unique. There are many different brands and types of switches, the most popular of which are Cherry MX switches. Other common switches include Alps, Gaterons, or Zelios. One of the most noticeable differences between switches is the feedback and feel that you get from a switch. Some switches have no tactile feedback whatsoever and are commonly referred to as linear switches. Non-linear switches have a tactile bump to them that gives the user some noticeable feedback as to when they've hit the actuation point of the switch. Switches that have a softer, less pronounced bump, such as the Cherry MX Browns, are referred to as tactile switches, while those with a more pronounced bump, like MX Blues, are known as clicky switches. Another more noticeable difference, and one that can make or break a switch for some typists, is the actuation force. Switches generally have actuation forces somewhere around 40 to 80 grams of pressure. Switches with a lower actuation force will provide little resistance to being pressed, while those with a higher actuation force will feel a bit stiffer to type with. A typist's desired actuation force is a matter of personal preference, and you should find what works best for you. The next thing you'll probably want to decide on is whether you want your keyboard to be backlit or not. Key switches are typically not backlit, though if that's the sort of thing that you find useful, you have a few options. You can simply get traditional backlit switches, which contain a single color LED, typically white by the way, and a clear casing to let the light shine through. If you want to be a bit fancier, you can go for RGB switches, which have multiple LEDs in them to allow for emulating any number of colors that you desire. Backlighting, and especially RGB backlighting, can add a bit of flair to your keyboard that makes it a bit more unique. It's also important to note that different switch types have different stems. The stem is the part that sticks up from the switch and connects to the keycaps on a keyboard. The switch you choose will limit the selection of keycaps you can purchase to customize your keyboard. Cherry MX switches are by far the most common and are noted by a plus-shaped stem. Gateron and Zelio switches are also fairly popular and share the same stem as a Cherry MX switch, which ensures compatibility with the same keycaps. On the other hand, Alps switches, which are fairly common as well, have a more rectangular shaped stem. This means they will not be compatible with Cherry MX keycaps, and your selection will be significantly more limited. Once you've taken all this into consideration, it should be a fairly straightforward process to determine what kind of switches you want to use. From there, you can either look for mechanical keyboards with your desired switch, or even build your own if you're feeling a bit more adventurous. To help, there are a ton of reference charts that associate different switches with actuation forces and whether they're linear or clicky. For convenience, there are links in the description to some common references that we enjoy looking at. If you really want to get a feel for different switches and try them all out, you might want to take a look at switch testers, which are available in many places online. Switch testers are essentially dummy boards consisting of an open frame capable of holding a number of different options. These testers allow you to not only test out many different types of switches to see what feels best, but also allow you the ability to compare them side by side against one another, which can help if you're deciding between a few. You don't need to be a mechanical keyboard or switch expert to be able to pick out a board with the type of key switch that you like. Many typists will have significantly different preferences, and your desired choice may even vary depending on your use case. There really is no right or wrong answer here when it comes to picking a key switch that works for you, so don't be afraid to play around with different options to see what works best. Anyway guys, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. If you have a preference for switch type and want to let us know, feel free to drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching guys, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to ANT Tech Tips for more videos like this one.